Although I enjoyed my first experience with the Frostpunk IP on console, I had a feeling the port of Frostpunk 2 would prove challenging. Despite sharing many core mechanics, Frostpunk 2 is far more menu-driven, with a focus on tweaking supply lines and juggling resource allocation across multiple Frostland sites, rather than restrictive city building in one location. The result is an engrossing sequel with far greater scope and complexity, but it doesn't always gel with the controller. That said, Frostpunk 2 is still a great sequel, so long as you're not after more of the same. The campaign and sandbox-style missions begin with the familiar task of building up a settlement around a generator and exploiting local resources, but it takes less time to establish a logistics hub and dispatch Frostland teams to explore a sprawling overworld map. There are technology paths that focus on fortifying and sustaining a single megacity by tapping into unlimited resource deposits, but the branching campaign chapters will still force you to explore the Frostlands, to either settle or loot distant locations. Frostpunk 2 feels considerably more epic in scope thanks to the new mechanics and an accelerated time frame. The in-game clock hurtles forward through days and weeks, so it plays out over years and decades, rather than the days and months of the original. The city-building elements, which now involve sprawling districts, hubs and key buildings, feels less exacting. In contrast, menu-driven systems that control the flow of heat and workers across your city are vital, and so too are Frostland supply lines that let you balance the flow of colonists, food, fuel and goods between settlements and outposts. Some may find the reduced focus on city building disappointing, but there are new and expanded mechanics to keep you engaged. The most obvious is the new council and enhanced interplay of factions within your city. It starts with a simple vote to keep your player on as steward, which can trigger an early game over screen, but you'll soon find yourself using these council sessions to vote on introducing new laws. These govern everything from education and social support to policing and healthcare, all of which comes with pros, cons, and faction preferences. If you play your cards right, there's even a path to entrench yourself as an autocratic leader who rules by edict. Factions can organically support your decisions, negotiate over future policy and research goals, or force you into a vote if you've ignored their requests for too long. If a faction gains dominance, they can start claiming housing districts, offer more support if you're aligned with them, develop potentially problematic rituals, and even rebel against you, damaging structures in your economy. There is plenty of lenience on the lower difficulties, but a combination of social unrest, fanatics, sabotage, and the elements can conspire to destroy your settlement if problems are left to fester. It is a complex and sometimes overwhelming interplay of systems, but it is incredibly satisfying to keep your city thriving on the edge of disaster, especially when you are reaping the rewards of an earlier narrative decision or newly researched technology. Gameplay can feel dry as you simply define development zones and flip between information overlays and shift sliders, but the audiovisual elements are immersive. The city announcer, citizen comments, and short narrative vignettes convey the impact of your choices. Machines clear the ice, basic foundations grow into bustling districts, and well-lit paths and heat pipes connect them. Better still, you can zoom right out into the Frostland view, zoom back into secondary settlements, or pan across the overworld map to track approaching whiteout storms that still threaten your settlements from time to time and can cut off distant outposts. Unfortunately, all that complexity means playing Frostpunk 2 on console, or on PC using a gamepad, will have you fighting the controls just often enough to be frustrating. Selecting the wrong structure in a radial menu or placing a district in the wrong spot is annoying but manageable. Struggling to navigate the screen overlay icons or struggling to shift sliders in sensible increments is far more impactful as the game goes on. When you throw in other annoyances, like repeatedly zooming into a settlement while simply trying to connect Frostland supply lines, or tutorial pop-ups that won't close, Frostpunk 2 can begin to grate. I just hope 11-bit studios are still working on refining the control scheme, as the rest of the package is an excellent choice for fans of city builders and management games with a survival twist. If you've got this far, please consider giving the video a like and maybe subscribing to our channel as it helps us grow.